Okay, I am a dinosaur, but not the cool kind, like T-Rex. I am a dinosaur with respect to tech. I have no cable TV, no satellite TV at my house. I barely have a cell phone, but it's not a smartphone. It's a dumb phone for a dumb user. I can get texts and I can write text, but just barely. Takes me longer to do a text than to write a whole letter out by hand. I can Google stuff on the internet, but I don't understand half of it. I don't do Facebook or Skype or Twitter. I am a dinosaur with respect to tech. Now, I can and do write and read emails, of course. But you know what? I like snail mail a lot better. I like to write notes or cards and send them to people in the actual mail, where they deliver it and you get a piece of paper in your hand. And I love to receive notes or cards in the actual mail. Which brings me to our second reading for today. We heard the beginning of Paul's letter to the Philippians. It was a real letter. Now, in the New Testament, as you know, we've got the 4 Gospels, which tell the story of the life of Jesus. We have the Acts of the Apostles, which tells the story of the early church. We have the book of Revelation, which tells us a story about the end of the world. But the New Testament also has a whole bunch of letters, and they are real letters to real people. It's like we get to read someone else's mail. Now, Paul was a big letter writer. He stayed in touch with churches around the Roman Empire by writing letters. Philippians is my favorite. Paul's letter to the church at Philippi in Greece is, for the most part, a thank you note full of love. He's writing to thank them for some money they sent to him to help him in his work. And it's obvious that those Philippians have a big place in Paul's heart. He writes, I thank my God every time I remember you. And they love him back. He writes, it's right for me to think this way about all of you because you hold me in your heart. The letter to the Philippians is full of love and encouragement and gratitude. Now, some of Paul's letters are kind of grumpy. But when he's writing to the Philippians, he's hardly grumpy at all. Okay, there's one very short grumpy part, but it's really short. Overall, this is a charming letter full of love, encouragement, and thankfulness. I think it felt good to get a letter like this. The Philippian church saved it and shared it, and now we have it too. I think it felt good to get a letter like this because I feel good when I get a letter like this. Sometimes people are kind enough to write me a note or send a card. It might be to thank me for something or to tell me that they like something I did or something I said. And you know what? I save those notes and cards and letters. I've got a file full of them. And if I'm feeling kind of low, I can pull them out and read them again. And it makes me feel good. So I want to encourage you to follow in the footsteps of the Apostle Paul in this way. Write notes of encouragement and gratitude. Makes a big difference for the people who receive your card or your letter or your note. Doesn't have to be a huge, long epistle. Just tell the truth about your good feelings about this person you're addressing. It's amazing how much it means to people. I know it means a lot to me. Past couple of weeks, we've heard a lot about one of our presidents. The late George H.W. Bush was president of the United States from 1988 until 1992. He was a lifelong member of the Episcopal Church. He was also a lifelong writer of kind thank you notes. This is very well known. People often talk about it with regard to him. Apparently, he was a good listener, and he valued the importance of kindness. And he had the habit of writing nice notes to people. That makes him a good example as a president and as a human being. So let's follow his example. I like the fact that he was an Episcopalian. Let's follow his example and that of St. Paul and write cards and notes and letters of gratitude and kindness to people. Okay, it's even all right to send nice emails. I know how to print those out and save those in my files too. Now there's a bonus for doing this. Sending a nice note to someone makes them feel better, but it will also make you feel better. There have been scientific research studies to back this up. Studies show that expressing gratitude makes us happier, more energetic, and more hopeful. One study, for example, asked people to spend just 15 minutes once a week for 8 weeks writing letters of gratitude to people they were thankful for. Now, what happened in this study is that the individuals writing the notes felt happier during those 8 weeks. And even when the study was over and it was past 8 weeks, their happiness level continued. So writing letters or cards of encouragement and gratitude not only makes the recipients happier, it also makes the writer happier. How cool is that? It seems to have worked this way for Paul as he wrote to the Philippians. He used words like joy and rejoice more in this little letter than in all the other writings we have from him. He seems to have found contentment no matter what circumstances he was facing. He wrote about rejoicing and thanksgiving and how these practices lead to the peace which passes understanding. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can believe Paul, who wrote to the Philippians, I thank my God every time I remember you. And you can take the word of those scientific researchers studying the relationship between gratitude and happiness. I may be a dinosaur when it comes to technology like computers, tablets, and smartphones, but I'm big on the technology of thank you notes, whether in the form of letters or cards or emails. And like the Apostle Paul, I believe that the technology of thank you notes will make both me and the people to whom I write happier. So if you want to make people happier and you'd like to be happier yourself, start writing your own epistles. Get busy on those thank you notes.